Hello and welcome to the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League, live tonight from the Sonoma Raceway here in Sonoma, California. Looking forward to another exciting event tonight. This is the second to last race of the season in the points battle. Only 6 points between the top two in the standings, being Steve Ficacci with that points lead, the championship lead, and Christopher Hill just trailing him by those 6 points. Darren Treacle, last week's winner, second quickest so far in the practice session tonight. I do not believe he's going to be really in the fight for the championship, just a little bit too far out. But those three have been the ones to beat all season long, and once again, right on top of the charts here in practice. We do want to apologize for starting the broadcast up just a little bit later than normal. A couple issues here to get things going, but looking forward to a good one here tonight. I've got our resident Californian in the booth with me. That is Alec Martinez. Alec, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm looking forward to this race. Like you said, the tight points battle that we have. And as I say that, Christopher Hill, who was trailing Steve Ficacci in qualifying, jumps to the top of the board and looks like we'll be on the pole. Unless Ficacci has anything to say about it, but Ficacci I don't believe is on the track. But like you said, this points battle here, and coming to one of my home tracks here out in beautiful wine country in Sonoma, California. This track is awesome. It's worn out, but testing this car here not too long ago, it's got a lot more grip than I actually anticipated these cars to have here. About 10 seconds faster than what the NASCAR Cup Series cars would turn here at Sonoma. So these cars are fast. These drivers are going to wheel them around here. But I will say tire fall off probably is going to be a big thing here as run goes on here for a 40-minute race. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the points battle is going to shake up here with Christopher Hill and Steve Ficacci. The races this year have been absolutely insane between the races that we've been able to broadcast. So I am really excited for this race, and I'm hoping the fans are too, because this race is going to be absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to it. This is one of the few tracks that we've been to that I have some experience in a race car in iRacing here. I have raced at a couple of these other ones, but just a handful of laps compared to here. I've run full races in the Cup cars and had decent success. Probably not quite as quick around here as you are, Alex, and not as good a frame of reference. But yeah, it's this is a fun track. The elevation changes, like you said, make it a really interesting place to drive around, and it really takes a lot of skill to make it around some of these corners, which are a bit blind from the approach that you take towards them. So let's take a look at our starting grid tonight. Does look like Christopher Hill going to be rolling off from the pole here at Sonoma Raceway, doing exactly what he needs to do to try and cut that 6-point deficit down to his championship rival, being Steve Ficacci, who's going to roll off on the front row alongside of him. From the third position tonight, it'll be last week's winner, Darren Treacle, so another good starting position for him. Brian Kennedy going to roll off from fourth here tonight. Peter Lanik starting from the fifth position. He will be joined by Rafael Torres in row 3 from 6th. 7th position, Adam Pohl. 8th position, Stefan Vappa. Rolling off 9th, it's going to be Clint Fletcher. And rounding out the top 10, Colin Kortnick. 11th here tonight, going to be Dean Tulien. 12th, Aaron Dietrich. 13th, Colin Crocker. 14th, Barry Bocaner. 15th, Scott Kim. 16th, Jesse Brannon. 17th, Justin Craig. 18th, Sten Sellier. 19th, Matthew Stover. Rounding out the top 20, Peter Yerxa. 21st tonight, David Curtis, Nicholas Matthews. 22nd, 23rd, Stephen Tenney. 24th, Robert Benson. 25th, Carlos Bonds. Perry Duncan showing as 26th in a 26-car field here tonight. And it looks like they'll do a full pace lap at this one instead of rolling off from the backstretch.
Sorry about that. I apparently unplugged my mic because I'm smart. So thank you for taking care of that. So I appreciate it. Sorry about that, but yeah, I'm interested to see here. We got the top 2 in the points starting on the front row, so I'm looking forward to this. This race, I feel like, could be one of the best of the year. This track provides great racing in all series that race here, including IndyCar, NASCAR. I'm excited to see these guys take on this track. I feel like we're going to be in for the show tonight.
Yes, I agree. I'm really looking forward to a competitive race here. This is a track that is technical, but can be very fast in certain sections. And to be a fun one to watch. These cars have put on great shows the last few weeks, and we haven't been disappointed yet. Looking forward to the same being said here tonight. Of course, thank you all for tuning in here. The sponsors of tonight's race, SEO Mike and Beltway Brewing Company. You'll hear more from them around the halfway break of the race, where we'll also put up a vote for driver of the day, one of the traditions here with this league. And it's going to be interesting to see who gets it this week. We do want to give a shout out to a driver that we did not award it to last week. Dean Tulane was the driver that we kind of snubbed there. So Dean ran a fantastic race last week, and you know, while we were putting up driver of the day, some things happened, and he ended up really having a breakout performance in that race. So do want to apologize to him, but we'll be running that same vote with 3 drivers right there at the halfway break. You can vote for who you think deserves it. And as we're working around the S's here on the backside of the racetrack, taking a look at the weather tonight, which is going to play a little bit of a role, I'm sure, with tire wear and the performance. 73-degree air temp and 94-degree track temp, so it's a little bit more slippery than it has been potentially at some of these other races. But you said there's plenty of grip out there.
There is. That California sunshine beating out on this track here. Sun's beating down here, and here we go. Pace cars off into the long pit lane, and Christopher Hill and Steve Koch are going to lead us off, and they are going to put on a heck of a show here for us viewers. Christopher Hill stacks them up into the restart zone. We're green here at Sonoma.
Green flag in the air and side by side, although now it looks like Hill takes the lead to himself, but Ficacci going to try and get the nose in underneath up the hill into turn number 1. Nothing doing there. He'll settle in line. The top 3 out, single file. Now Brian Kennedy also, and they try and settle it out all the way back to the 6th position as they swing through.
Rolls around, and Stefan Vapa slides into the tire barriers. Not more cars, one car off the into the sand, but Vapa and Pole go around up in, I believe that's the turn 3 area, and they stack up into turn 4. And now down the carousel, Christopher Hill is going to lead Steve Ficacci and Dean, or is that Darren Treacle up in 3rd, along with Brian Kennedy following. And now we got trouble in the back, in the infield section.
The Barry Buchanan? Yeah, it is. I saw Barry had
Buchanan.
Oh,
he's around again and into the tire barriers hard.
Oh, man. All kinds of problems.
A little trouble there for Barry Buchanan. I believe he's turned that car away now. Now as we go down these S's, Christopher Hill has about a 6-7 car length lead over Steve Ficacci. Ficacci goes wide into the dirt in turn 10 as they go into turn 11.
Gonna have to be careful getting this sand on these tires and trying to keep grip in these race cars. Every time you go off, you're gonna have a little bit that sticks to the tires for a little while, and then next corner you're not gonna be too sure of what kind of grip that car is gonna have. Looks like he's done an okay job of maintaining that 6/10 margin up to Christopher Hill, but yeah, it's some work to be done here, and definitely at a disadvantage once again, being the trailing car. We've seen that be the case each race this season, where the leader really has had a good advantage and been able to lead the majority, if not all, of the laps in every single event.
That is very true. I think every race that we've had this season, they're going down to the back and around turn 3 with Adam Pohl, and I believe Stephen Tenney, and as well, I believe Justin Craig went off track just a few positions ahead of them. But yeah, we've seen the trend here is if you get the pole, I think almost every race that we've covered, the pole sitter has led about every lap. So it's a good trend to start on pole here. But we've seen Christopher Hill and Ficacci, they've went at it together all season and trying to be, I guess they've been the head 2 guys. They've pulled away from Darren Treacle, who was the 3rd place in points as well. But I believe Treacle's not going to have any say in this points battle unless something drastically bad happens between Ficacci and Hill.
Christopher Hill taking out a couple cones there on his entry into the hairpin corner here and back towards the start-finish line. This is going to be the completion of lap number 2, and he has that half-second lead over Ficacci. The lap car Barry Buchanan are going to be pulling off pit road now after towing it there. And
stop and let everybody go by.
Yeah, he is.
Great move by Barry.
Yeah, all the way at the back of the pack. The only car 1 lap down, but we did see Perry Duncan have some issues. Adam Pohl now pulls it to pit lane. So maybe some damage on that race car.
Yes, he has had some. He's been having a little bit of contact and ruffling some feathers out in the mid pack after having that spin in turn 3 on the first lap. Been able to recover, but ever since then he's in the pits. So curious if he can get that car back out on track and back into contention and passing some more cars here.
Yeah, one of the drivers, he's been one of them up there in the top 5, top 10 every single race. You know, even the opening, I think he's been on the podium twice so far in our time broadcasting. So that's a fast driver who's going to be not getting the finish that he wants and could hurt him in the standings. Still, though, 0.4 of a second for these two leaders, and Christopher Hill, he's really going to need a mistake potentially from Steve Ficacci that puts him back a few positions. And Hill's going to need a victory, I think, at this rate. Look at Ficacci closing in here in the hairpin. Now just 1 car length between those two drivers.
Yeah, Ficacci seems like he's able to gain a lot in the braking zones, but Christopher Hill does seem to get the drive off down the straightaway. But the draft here, these cars, the draft does tend to be pretty big here with these BMWs. So I'm curious to see, is Hill trying to save a little bit of tire, trying to force Ficacci to almost kind of get him to where he knows he's pushing him. He's pushing those tires, and this track, we said earlier in the broadcast, these cars, this track eats up tires. You can see Ficacci get tight there into turn 3, but these tires do start to wear away, and in a 40-minute race, that's about, I would have guessed, 25, 26 laps of green flag racing. So I'm curious to see if Christopher Hill's trying to save tires, and if he can win this race, and he's going to need Steve Ficacci to start falling back a few positions to get any sort of big points gap closed down.
Yeah, pretty much up here at the front, it's about a point or 2 separating each position. So 6-point margin headed into tonight's race. That's what Christopher Hill has to make up. And right now, I think he'd only make up a couple by winning over Ficacci, finishing second. So there are opportunities to make mistakes. We've already seen Ficacci go wide there on lap number 1. And the pit stop can also introduce errors. And so we've seen Ficacci and Hill both make slight mistakes on pit stops this season, but not enough to really lose them or gain them positions over one another. Darren Treacle right here in this battle, too. He's only about 4 car lengths, 5 car lengths now back of Ficacci. And then Brian Kennedy is doing a great job as the top 4 have broken away. The battle for 5th starting to rage on between Peter Lanik and Clint Fletcher, basically resuming after last week.
Yeah, these guys have been able to run. They're not on the same pace that we've seen as Ficacci, Hill, and Treacle have had, but they have been pretty much running together the entire season for the 5th place position. We saw it at Long Beach. We saw it last week at Spa and them having contact, and now we're seeing it this week at Sonoma as Fletcher's not able to get any sort of run here on Lanik, but right behind them is Dean Tooling, who we talked about earlier in the show as well, that he had an amazing run last week at Spa, and we kind of forgot to put him on our driver of the race poll, in which he definitely deserved it. And last week as well, I believe, who won the driver of the day
I believe
last
it was Clint Fletcher.
Fletcher did have a few spots as well, but Dean Tooling did have no disrespect to Clint Fletcher, but Dean Tooling did have a lot of spots gained compared to Fletcher. But Fletcher did drive a good race as well last week at Spa, and this week Tooling's also driving once again another one along with Clint Fletcher.
And Rafael Torres, who was involved in that battle, is basically these 4 cars plus Brian Kennedy, who is up there competing with the top 4, but starting to lose touch with Darren Treacle. He may start to fade back into that battle, and once again, we may have 5 cars racing for the 4th position, which will be very exciting, especially around this place where there's a lot of passing opportunities. And right now, Clint Fletcher, he keeps trying to take a peek down there on the on driver's right at the exit of the hairpin, but just has not been able to get the power down to make the move. But you can see every corner he's trying to cut underneath, get some air to the nose of that race car, and he is able to keep this gap down to just a car length and a half. And look at Dean Tooling, though, starting to close up now, just 2 car lengths back as he dives down into the entrance to the carousel.
Yeah, Tooling's starting to gain some time here on the 18 of Fletcher, and along with that's Rafael Torres right behind Tooling. So, and then right behind them, that's Colin Crocker, who we haven't really talked about this season as well. He's slowly into the top 10, inside the top 10, and starting to close on these guys here.
I think he had his first career race last week and actually ended up with a top 10, and he's trying to back that performance up as we did have a pass there. Dean Tulien going to lose a spot to Rafael Torres in that white 777 machine as he tries to track down Clint Fletcher and Peter Alanik. So pretty much single file for the moment amongst all these drivers. The closest battle here going to be for the 5th position behind Peter Alanik. And let's take a look if anybody else is battling farther back. Not too much to speak of. Looks like Stefan Vapa trying to recover from the lap 1 incident at the top of the hill. He's racing it up with Justin Craig, one of the newer drivers also to the league. So those two now separating by a little bit as Vapa, I think, made the pass just on this lap and driving away. But they were pretty close there for a moment. Battle up towards the front, though. This is definitely going to be the most exciting one to watch.
For sure. I'm noticing here Clint Fletcher's been diving in deep into the brake zones and using a lot of curbers. You see behind them, I believe that was Colin Crocker went wide there into turn 4. But I've been noticing that Rafael Torres is also a lot faster than the guys that are ahead of him. But with Clint Fletcher, he's been using a lot of curb out of these corners, something we haven't really seen a lot this year with the tracks that we've went to with curbs. This track, it's notorious. We get great shots in the NASCAR Cup Series with these guys hopping curbs and trying to get use those curbs to rotate the car through the center of the corner.
Yeah, they don't necessarily need to do that with these, with all that downforce. These cars are pretty well stuck to the racetrack. You can see small adjustments here on board with Rafael Torres as he tries to close in on Clint Fletcher. And he is really pushing this race car. Going to now look to the drivers right down into the hairpin, hard on the brakes, down into first gear.
Locked up. And Torres locked up.
Yeah, he went in there really deep into that corner. Was able to make it stick, but yeah, a little lockup from both he and Clint Fletcher. And Peter Lanik able to pull out a little bit of a margin over those two. Meanwhile, up at the front, Christopher Hill starting to stretch the lead out over Steve Ficacci. Now 1.4 seconds. They work their way towards the carousel once again. Darren Treacle, just another 1.5 seconds. So basically 1.3, 1.4 separating each of these top 3 drivers. And then Brian Kennedy starting to lose touch now. Lap times falling off for him. He's actually about a second a lap slower than Peter Lanik. So those guys might be there in about a lap.
Yeah, they are starting to close in on Brian Kennedy. Kennedy might have pushed tires a little too early here. We're only 8 laps into this race. See, Lanik, Fletcher, and I believe Torres and Tulien are starting to run. They're about like you said, 1.5 seconds faster. So we got a car stopped. I believe that's off of into turn 7. That's Perry Duncan in the 24. He's letting all these guys go, but you see that the gap's starting to kind of close out here, or kind of getting a little bit bigger here. I believe Lanik starting to pull away from Fletcher, and Fletcher starting to pull away from Torres as well. Yeah,
Perry Duncan with some issues already in this race. He pulls it off the track there to let all these leaders by 1 lap down. He'll join Barry Bocaner as the only drivers off the lead lap here in the first 12 minutes of the race. Bocaner still on pit road, and I think he may be keeping it there for the night. So Lanik leading this battle for 5th, and Clint Fletcher still close in tow, just a car length and a half as they work up the hill. And then Rafael Torres has fallen back just a few more car lengths, closer to Dean Tulien, who's reeling him back in. So it's going to be kind of this tug of war, I think.
Lanik kind of went wide in that off of turn 3, so curious to see. It looks like Fletcher didn't gain a lot, but he gained a little bit and kind of closes the gap between that 294. And now the 8 car goes wide in that carousel, but it's interesting to see the different lines these guys are taking in that carousel. Fletcher has more of a wide, Fletcher off the ground, man, into the sand, gets loose off the corner. Great save, able to make up some time, and now Torres dives it under him here. It's gonna get tight here.
That is a bold move there, but Torres has been making them already in this race. Trying to get another one here. It looks like Fletcher going to hang on for the moment, but really off the mark here in these S's. Once you're out of sequence, it's a golden opportunity for that car following, and the door is open for Torres, but not going to be able to make that move. Here comes Tulien and another move.
Oh man, almost hit that tire barrier. Fletcher kind of goes wide. and Torres is able to capitalize, get the run off, but now they're going to be side by side going up the hill into turn 1, and Dean Tulane trying to capitalize on this battle for, I believe this is the 6th position, and Torres is able to get it up into turn 1.
Torres now gaining another spot. We saw this from him last week, so fast here in the opening sequence, and fell off a little bit, made some mistakes after the pit stop, but you can see once he's clear of these guys, he may have a good shot at tracking down Peter Lanik for 5th. Oh, lock up there from Fletcher.
Goes wide. Oh, and Torres is off the track as well. And Tulane is going to get 1, possibly 2 positions as they go into the carousel.
A little bit of smoke up a little bit further. That may have been Lanik, but he has got a huge gap now over Torres, who holds 6th. And here comes Tulane trying to make a move to driver's left. Not going to be able to do it here, but maybe cross him over here through this back end of the racetrack, right out of the drag strip area into the S's. Still about 3 car lengths separating 6th and 7th place drivers on the track, as Tulane still impressive. You know, not that many mistakes, no big mistakes at least, and he's able to take advantage of other drivers who are going off track.
Been very consistent over these last few races that we've broadcasted. Tulane having another good race, starting 11th up, I believe it's 3 or 4 positions now, going to be in the 7th position. Dean Tulane's been getting off to some hot starts here and getting some positions in these races, and about to come up on the halfway in this race, and 2 spots behind him. I believe Colin Crocker is up, he's up 4 positions as well.
Yeah, and also Sten Cellier in 12th. He's up 6 spots right now in the Beltway Brewing Company. Black is Beautiful machine. I believe that that new stout is going to be out pretty soon, or it may have already just released. We'll have to see the ad. I believe it was on the 8th, so just a couple days ago they came out with that one. But Cellier having a good solid run. We've seen him have top 10 performances, and right now just a couple spots outside of that, but still moving forward. Peter Yerxa also up 7 positions, and Nicholas Matthew Stover behind him also up quite a few spots. So good runs for these drivers in the mid-pack tonight.
For sure, getting those positions, getting those extra points for battles out in the mid-pack situation for points. As we go up to the lead here, I believe Christopher Hill is running, it wasn't as fast that last time, but he was running about half second faster, as Fakachi has kind of been able to close the gap here as we cross the line. We'll see how much the gap's able to change as Hill ran a 27.737 and Steve Fakachi ran a 27.339, which is about 4/10 faster that lap. So Fakachi's starting to kind of chip away at the lead a little bit more. And Darren Treacle right behind him as well was the 2nd fastest car out of the top 3. So maybe they're starting to run down Christopher Hill, but remember, we got pit stops coming up, so I'm curious to see what happens.
Yeah, and we have had some drivers bring it down. Stefan Vappa came in just 1 lap ago. Aaron Dietrich just 2 laps ago, and then Justin Craig, David Curtis both in 3 laps ago. So they're going to be not too far up in front of the race leader and battling 4 positions up there. So keep an eye on these guys. They may get to it, and then the leaders you can see just off in the back of the picture there. Still a ways behind them, about 12 seconds, but the paces that they've been running, they might get there in about a lap and a half. So just keep an eye on that. The time on pit road looking like it's about 37 seconds. And some of these drivers with pit stops varying from 4 to 10 seconds. Christopher Hill having an issue early last week. He brought it on the pit road early as well and ended up having to make a second splash and go. You don't want to make that mistake here tonight and pit too early.
For sure. Hill's still got up to, let's see here, an upstage this time. He's got about a 2-second lead, 2.1 second lead over Steve Fakachi, who was able to gain this last lap. But I will say, Christopher Hill has had some really bad luck with lap traffic this year. Had some bad luck at Long Beach, had some bad luck at, I believe it was Outland Park. And then I think he almost got wrecked a few weeks ago. I can't remember the track, but he also has had, like I said, he's had some bad luck with lap cars. Hopefully, he's hoping that doesn't happen today. He's still gaining on Steve Fakachi here in his last few laps. So trying to tighten up that points battle. I guarantee you, Christopher Hill is kind of rooting on Darren Treacle try to get by Fakachi here to gain some extra points.
Yeah, that would be ideal for Christopher Hill to gain a couple more, or at least one more, which would make it, just maybe a 2-position difference in that final race. Christopher Hill looking for his, this would be 4th victory of the season, which would tie Steve Fakachi, who has not been to victory lane in at least a couple of weeks, with Treacle winning and then Hill winning before that. So Fakachi, if they are tied on wins and all other things are the same, it may come down to a tiebreaker who finishes best in that last race, or who has more wins, and whoever, takes the victory next week might very well come away with the championship. So that is how close things are at the moment, but Hill still looking for a little bit more, hopefully a mistake from Fakachi from his perspective.
That would be absolutely insane if it did come down to a tiebreaker, for the championship. I don't know if we've seen that here in any racing series in a while. That'd be kind of wild after a full season of races and coming down to the last race, and where you finish in that last race is something we haven't seen in a while. It'd be a crazy way to end this already crazy season.
Yeah, it would almost be NASCAR-like, or kind of like this previous F1 season, right? So close for so long, and we do have a car off the racetrack. Colin Crocker gets it pointed in the right direction. He's going to be under pressure from Colin Kortnick, who is right here in the 10th position, right where he started. Oh, and he locks up right behind him, so a couple mistakes there from those drivers, 9th and 10th. But that could be a battle. And seeing a little sideways there for Kortnick as he exited the carousel. Here down into this sharp right-hand corner, though, just 4 or 5 car lengths behind, so Crocker going to have to try and deal with this pressure.
For sure. Made a little bit of a mistake. I believe that was off of turn 4. Allowed Kortnick to close up to him, and then off the carousel, Kortnick made a mistake coming off as well, and getting the rear end coming off the corner a little bit too much. And as I see this battle for the 6th position is starting to close up here as they go into turn 11, Rafael Torres and Dean Tulane are starting to close up as Torres gets loose off of 11, allowing Tulane to kind of close up.
And a 777 maybe burning his stuff up too early. Mentioned this just earlier in the broadcast. Very good in the first quarter of the race, and then it seems he falls off just a little bit, pushing that car so hard. And right now, Dean Tulane, just smooth sailing for him. He closes up a 10th last lap and starting to put that pressure on for 6th. And we've reached the halfway point. Christopher Hill has led the entire way. We're going to go to a commercial break to hear from the sponsors of tonight's race and get that driver of the day poll up and going. But we will be right back as pit stops are going to be starting soon. Beltway Brewing Company, Cajun Fire, and Black Viking Breweries have joined together to brew this year's edition of Black is Beautiful with a unique twist. Beignets straight from New Orleans.
There go the fresh beignets.
Straight from New Orleans. Woo!
That's how it's done.
These delightful pastries combined with Madagascar vanilla beans and caramel malt bring a creme brulee quality to this stout and delicately balance the bold chocolate notes of the dark malt. Pouring a luxurious onyx hue, this big, easy drinking stout will reward you for supporting diversity in craft brewing. Targeting a launch date of February 19th, 2022, learn more at beltwaybrewco.com. Beltway Brewing Company is located in Sterling, Virginia, and proudly represents the DMV area. Check out their lineup of unique IPAs, lagers, sours, stouts, and even seltzers. Savory and delicious empanadas by Peruvian Brothers are now available in their tap room. For all things Beltway, go to beltwaybrewco.com and follow at Beltway Brew Co. on social media. SEO Mike helps businesses of all sizes achieve higher search engine rankings to drive more traffic and increase sales. Contact SEO Mike today for a free website evaluation and quote. Mention this ad for 15% off your initial setup. SEO Mike, marketing websites on the internet since 1997. Visit SEOmike.com.
Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing and specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors.
Shot at it, I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn one. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey.
All right, back at the racetrack, Darren Treacle made a pit stop, and he finds himself right now in the 9th position, trying to work his way back forward, and a little bit of clean racetrack in front of him. Clint Fletcher now brings it on the pit road, so the pit cycle is started amongst the drivers in the top 10. We've had a few on the outside of the top 10. Stefan Vapa pitted just a handful of laps ago. Stefan Tenney also bringing it in. So quite a few drivers have pitted, but most of the top 10 has not. Christopher Hill still with the lead over Steve Ficacci. For the moment, Ficacci has fallen back a little bit now to 3 seconds. So that battle is not going to be as tight as we expected, but maybe pit stops could play a role in that.
For sure, and my eyes are on Darren Treacle, who's lapping faster than Steve Ficacci, who would be in second if he does bring it down pit road. Treacle did pit, and it seemed like Ficacci's tires are starting to fall off a little bit, as they're still, looks like they're still staying out, and Ficacci missed the corner there, continues to lock up that left front going into turn 11, and the more he locks it up, the more he's going to wear it out and possibly flat spot it. You don't want to flat spot it here. And I don't think he'll be taking tires. You'll probably lose too much time, but this could play right into the hands of Christopher Hill, as Ficacci is really just sliding around the track here.
Yeah, I saw it there coming up the hill in turn number 1. The back end got away from him for a moment, and it looked like he was going off the track, but able to keep it on the pavement here as they work down towards the carousel. Ficacci, yeah, just kind of tiptoeing for the moment. You can tell he is definitely not too comfortable. 0.3 of a second slower than Christopher Hill the last lap, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when it continues to compound on top of the margin he already had.
We got trouble in turn 1. Colin Crocker is around. They got into the tire barriers.
Look at what happened to him.
Just went right into the marbles.
Oh man, just locked it up big time.
Locked it up into the outside, or into the outside tire barrier. And of all of this, when this was happening, Darren Treacle was running up on a few guys and was able to get by 2 of them by them checking up, and now he's ran up on, I believe that's Colin Kortnick in the 32 car. So I'm curious to see, is now Christopher Hill has brought it in pit lane, but I think Steve Ficacci hit the wall. Ficacci hit the wall and tried to gain time on Christopher Hill. Absolutely sent it around the wall, Kyle Larson style. Gained a few tenths and maybe even a few seconds.
That is crazy. Tactic. You know what? I saw him practicing that, and you know, iRacing has its quirks and details that you can exploit at times. He may have just given himself an opportunity to win this, as Hill and Ficacci both roll off. going to be a little bit of damage on that 00, but it may not be enough to hurt him. And the gap now cut in half because of that. It could be, like we said, the last broadcast, could be a big brain move right there for Fakachi. A big brain move as he closes in, but still going to have work to do. Brian Kennedy going to take over the lead for the moment. I'm not sure he has not led a lap, but currently in that lead position and might be able to lead one here if he stays out at least an additional lap. Fakachi, though, that is something that we'll take into consideration for future races here at this track. If you go into that corner the right way, that's not something I expected to be possible. But rode the wall into pit lane and definitely made it work for him. He's now 1.4 seconds behind. He might even get a hint of draft on some of these straightaways that might be able to help him out, but he'll also get that dirty air at this range. Oh, when he goes off.
He's off the track! Steve Fakachi's tires, we said before he came into the pits, he looked like he had worn them out, and now he is trying everything he can to catch the 01 of Christopher Hill. Or the 101 of Christopher Hill, excuse me, he is really fighting after. I think he's starting to know that this is for the championship, and if Christopher Hill wins this race, he's gonna gain some valuable points on him going into the last race next week at an unpredictable track in Austria at the Red Bull Ring.
As we see Colin Courtney give up a top 5 position, he'll pull it into pit road. Brian Kennedy just exiting the pit lane. He'll grab 4th, but that battle might be on for that position. There's a car coming up behind him. I don't actually think that's going to be 4th position there. But Darren Treacle takes over 3rd once again. He's got about 6.5 seconds up to Fakachi, so not a contender at the moment. As those two out in front, well out in front for the moment.
Yeah, these guys are way out ahead.
Yeah, it's not even going to be a contest unless they get together, which, we've seen them battle hard and make contact. But I think the distance just a little bit too great right now as Fakachi continues to try and close that gap. Very aggressive on corner entry. 1.8 seconds now. The difference picked up a few tenths right there on that end of the racetrack. So trying to find some things that work for him and really just doing everything he can at the moment.
Yeah, he is driving that car to the absolute limit. I'm sure Christopher Hill looks like he has a little bit better tires than Fakachi, but Fakachi, I can promise you this, is stopping at no cost to try to catch that 101 car. And I don't know if he's going to get to him. It seems like he just doesn't have the tires that Christopher Hill has. But we've seen that that Fakachi's not scared to get a little rough with his car, as we saw entering the pits, as Fakachi was a half second faster than Christopher Hill that last lap. I'm curious to see I'm going to assume we have 4 or 5 laps to go to see if he can run down that 101.
Not able to make too much progress, although right now, actually, that was a half second. Yeah, actually, I was looking at the visual gap. It didn't seem like there was that much, but it continues to shrink that distance right there. So Hill, maybe with the heat cycle from the pit stop, maybe not enjoying the handling on that race car at the moment as much as he was the early stages of this race, but only 8 minutes left in this. It's going to be a tall order for Fakachi to get there. But if he can gain half a second, we got a lap car here.
Blow up Christopher Hill.
And it's
Fakachi hits him. Fakachi hits the lap car.
That was Stefan Tenney. 2 laps down, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Was actually in a good position to let drivers by. It's just Fakachi couldn't afford to slow down, and he was hoping.
Is held on the 00 car. Now Darren Treacle can try to gain on Steve Fakachi if Fakachi's car is hurt enough, but that front end is pushed in a really big amount. I believe he also got doored in that process as well. Now I'm curious to see how hurt his car is, and now Christopher Hill can pretty much just cruise his way into a win. But now the question is, can Treacle run down Fakachi?
Yeah, that would be massive. The difference right now, 4.7 seconds from Treacle up to Steve Fakachi. It's a couple of corners worth, so it's still quite a ways to go in 7 minutes. But Treacle's been very consistent, very few mistakes, just has not been quite on the pace of the top 2. That being said, only 0.3 slower than Christopher Hill. He's the only one really, in the ballpark, though. Brian Kennedy picking up the pace. He was fastest last time around. So making me eat my words right there. And he holds on to 4th, a good margin back to Peter Lanik, who rides in the 5th position. No battles really to speak of in the top 10. Stefan Vapa continuing to march back forward, though. He is closing in on Jesse Brandon for the 9th position.
Yes, Vapa is starting to close on Brandon here for, like you said, the 9th position. Brandon is up a few spots, I believe. Let's see where Brandon started. Jesse Brandon started 16th. He's up 7 spots in that 333 car. So a good run by Brandon here. And Vop, after spinning on lap 1, has had a pretty good recovery getting back up to the field.
He had a great recovery. He was at one point outside the top 20. I think 24th was the lowest that he was. And right now in the top 10 after starting in 8th, he could get back into his starting spot here if Kortnick or Fletcher make a mistake up in front of him. It's going to be difficult to catch up 7 or 8 seconds, or actually it's going to be more than that, 13 seconds I think up to those guys. So probably out of the cards for the moment, but Jesse Brandon definitely not too far up the road here, just about 10 car lengths from him. So that is going to be the first battle to watch amongst the top 10. Scott Kim and Adam Pohl also pretty tight at the moment, 12th and 13th. And Pohl has been through it tonight after issues on lap 1. He's made a decent recovery as well.
He has. Him and I believe Stefan Vapa they both spun into turn 3 on the first lap. Have definitely gained a lot of what they lost, but not able to gain as much as Vapa has. But I will say nonetheless a good recovery, and curious to see if he can run down Cullen Crocker in the 11.
Crocker, still a good solid race. Started 13th even with the mistake there not long ago. Rides in the 11th position. Also one of our options for driver of the day. Has had a good performance for the 2nd week in a row. And, you know, not quite in the top 10 at the moment, but it's not out of the question for him to get back up there, barring, you know, mistakes from these drivers in front. Is Vapa really close now to the tail of Brandon? Going to try and cross him over here as Brandon locks it up a little bit. That margin just a car length down into the S's.
Yeah. But Vapa is in striking distance, as they would say. He's able to gain a decent amount here.
Probably about 3 laps to go to make the move, and that's plenty of time here. That's over 36 corners left in this race.
Here in 11. See if he uses the bumper here, he forces Brandon wide, and Vapa's going to take the spot and slot into the 9th position. And behind them, I believe Colin Crocker's trying to get run down by Adam Pohl, who was about a second faster than him the last lap.
It looked like Vapa used the intimidate button on that one. Just kind of got in there and didn't have to touch Brandon to knock him out of the way, but Brandon overshot the corner, and that opened the door for Vapa to continue his recovery forward up. Right now, just 1 position back from where he started after being up there in the top 10 early on in the race. Yeah, but our votes for driver of the day tonight, we've got Dean Tulane, who has all of the votes so far. So Dean might get some justice for missing out on last week's vote. So you'll have to see that. Stencelier also an option, and Kellen Crocker. Crocker up 2 positions from where he started, and Cellier up 4 spots from where he started. We've had some other big movers in the field tonight. Jesse Brandon up 6. And then also got Kim up a couple spots. Peter Yerxa up 5. Nicholas Matthews up 6. So quite a few drivers making moves, like we said, in that mid-pack. Having good races tonight here at Sonoma. Pretty uneventful for the moment, but the battle for 14th and 15th could be developing. Stencelier feeling the pressure from Peter Yerxa. So that's a battle to keep an eye on here in the closing laps.
Gonna go into the braking zone of turn 11 here. Yerxa did seem to get a good run off of turn 10, and I'm curious to see what he does with Stellier going into 11. He's close and within striking distance as they're gonna go through turn 12 and then into up the hill to turn 1 here. I'd be curious to see if Yerxa has anything for Stellier, and he looks like he is a little bit faster And these two are starting to run down Scott Kim, and up ahead of them, Adam Pohl is now on the back bumper of Colin Crocker.
That'll be for 11th position, so continuing to march back forward is Adam Pohl. Trying to keep up with Stefan Vapa. He would only be 2 positions behind him, so really not really much worse of a recovery, honestly. I think he had the worst end of the deal. The car went off into the wall for him, and then I think also pointed the wrong direction, as I think Vapa was able to get rolling a little bit better than Adam Pohl, so that's probably the difference there. But right now, that battle, yeah, developing for 11th. He's still there, headed into the S's. Just over a minute left in this race. Christopher Hill working, I believe, 2 laps to go. It'll be the white flag next time around. He's got 5.7 seconds over Fakachi, who's really faded here in the closing moments of this race. Darren Treacle still not close enough. And I think the car may be around up here in front. It might have been Nicholas Matthews at least locking it up on the tail end of the lead lap. So, yeah, no lap traffic. Yeah, I think I saw smoke just from the front tires there. No lap traffic for Hill to deal with potentially on this last lap. The closest would be that 55 of Matthews, but that's still about 4 or 5 seconds, which I don't think that's the difference in pace at the moment. So he should be all right for a clean final lap here, barring any major mistakes. I just don't see that happening right now.
Oh. Dean Tubing spun previous lap in the S's, coming down to hit the tire barriers and backed that BMW into the tire barrier and into the outside wall, and lost about a position or 2. Able to get it back going, but he's fallen a little bit behind Colin Kornick. He's only been able, I think he only lost about 1 spot, or he might have lost a spot to Clint Fletcher as well, but dang.
Yeah, commentator curse striking right there late in the going here. Maybe Tulane can get back up to 7th, but either way, still a strong performance for the 2nd week in a row. He'll get a top 10. Once again, barring any mistakes here on the last lap. The white flag is out. Christopher Hill working down through the carousel. 5.3 seconds over Steve Fakachi. This championship battle continues to entertain. They go back and forth for this championship lead. It's going to be 4 wins apiece headed into the final race, and should be right around 4 points apart. And Fakachi just banking on a couple of strong finishes here to close out the season. And so far, he's done what he has to do to keep that margin, out in front for the championship. But it's getting tighter and tighter, and we've seen this week after week. Christopher Hill just continuing to try and chop into that lead point by point. At one point, it was larger than it is now. And it's going to get even tighter into the final race of the season. Rounding the final corner, Christopher Hill headed towards the line. He's going to win at Sonoma, I believe one of his home tracks. So congrats to him. Across the line, there he is. Christopher Hill, his 4th win of the season. Fakachi works past for 2nd. And then Darren Treacle, last week's winner, he'll be back on the podium once again tonight for 3rd in tonight's event. Let's take a look at some of these other battles. Adam Pohl, Colin Crocker, fighting for position 11th and 12th.
Pohl's going to look low, kind of show his nose that he's there. Like you said, for the 11th position, Pohl's going to have about 1 more prime passing opportunity. That's going to be going into the final corner of turn 11, and behind them a few positions, Yerxa and Stellier. Stellier has a decent gap as they go into the S's, but the battle is for 11th here. Pohl closing in on Crocker. He's able to gain a lot through turn 10.
Oh, here he goes. Going to look to the outside. Crocker, defensive line.
See, he's going to try the crossover. Crocker able to clear him into the corner. And Crocker's going to hold off to 11th. And behind them, Stellier goes wide. It hits the wall almost with Yerxa. And Crocker's going to hold on to 11th. And behind them, it's going to go Pohl, Kim, Stellier, and then Yerxa. And then behind him, Dietrich, Stover, Curtis, Matthews, and Justin Craig will look like he'll get the top 20.
Ooh, dive bomb move there by Nicholas Matthews down in the final corner, trying to get the 18th position away. Couldn't do it. He'll come home in 19th. Justin Craig, first car, 1 lap down, will round out to the top 20. But Christopher Hill, race winner tonight, his 4th of the season. He's going to be a happy man. As Fakachi going to pull the same move down into pit road? No, he stays off the wall this time. But burnout coming here. There it is. Burn it down.
his home track. I remember him saying he's around from here, a local Californian, and winning at a California track, nothing like it. And I remember him saying in an interview, I think it was at Long Beach, he said he's a big fan of these last 3 tracks they had, which was Spa, here at Sonoma, and then going into next week here at the Red Bull Ring for the championship. Christopher Hill is making a statement here. We're going to go one more race to go. Steve Ficacci's probably going to have the points lead. And barring who got the fastest lap, Christopher Hill could be even less than 4 points behind Steve Ficacci going into Austria next week.
It'll be very interesting to see how things shake out. Let's go ahead and pull in, see who actually won the driver of the day tonight's race. Looks like it's going to be Dean Tulane, 100% of the votes here tonight. So congrats to Dean. A little bit of, redemption after missing out on the vote last week. So let's actually get him in here first. Talk with him. It's going to be Dean Tulane, driver of the day here at Sonoma. Let's pull him in the booth. Dean Tulane, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Adam, how are you? I do.
Hey, not too bad, man. A little bit of redemption after missing out on the driver of the day vote last week. You get it today here at Sonoma. A strong performance up in the top 10. You come home in 8th. Describe your night here.
It was going pretty good. I missed all the carnage in turn 3 on lap 1, and then just kept it clean up until the second to last lap, and then hit a little bit of dirt, spun, hit a wall, and only dropped 2 places. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, definitely, a pretty fun race to watch out here. We saw side-by-side battling. It's a pretty technical and difficult course with all the elevation changes. How was the car feeling for you, especially as the race wore on?
Yeah, after about 10 laps, the tires just kind of fall off, and it's just tire management from that point on, kind of backing up the brake points a little bit, but trying not to lose pace. It's a tricky course.
Yeah, that is for sure. It's the only experience I have here is in the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity cars, and man, that is a handful to get around this track. But you got driver of the day here in the second to last race. We do go to the Red Bull Ring to close out the season next week. How do you feel about going out there?
Oh, I'm really excited about Red Bull Ring. We've done it quite a few times, so it'll be fun to do it in the GT3 or GTE this time.
Yeah, looking forward to another one out there. That's another great racetrack, one of my favorites that the F1 drivers go to. The driver of the day tonight, finishing in 8th. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to SEO Mike. Thanks for sponsoring the league, and to Beltway Brewing and Sten for sponsoring, and Scott for setting this all up. Appreciate it.
Awesome, Dean. Well, congrats on winning driver of the day, and we'll catch you in the season finale next week.
Thanks, Adam. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Have a good one, man. Congrats.
That is Dean Tulane, as we now are going to go to 3rd place finisher. That is going to be Darren Treacle. Alec, I are with him.
Yes, I am. Darren Treacle. Alec Martinez, Adam Baker in the V-Speed booth. Got a copy?
I got a copy.
Yes, sir, man. Bringing her home in 3rd. Had a quiet, calm race, and still podium. A good result after last week. How you feeling after it?
Well, after last week, this one's kind of blah, but, it's a podium finish. I didn't expect to do anything spectacular here. I'm not the greatest at this track. It's not my favorite track. So, I'm cool with the 3rd.
Sure.
I gave it a valiant effort there, the old college try at the beginning, and then it was just a matter of making sure that I stayed in 3rd and kept Brian behind me.
Do you feel like maybe after Steve had his issue, do you think you could have maybe ran him down after he got into the lap car?
I was keeping an eye on the times, and we were pretty similar in lap time. There was a couple of times where I was a little bit quicker, but I just didn't have the pace. I don't think I would have. It seemed like maybe I was creeping up on him, but I wasn't. I didn't have the consistency for some reason at this track. There's some turns that I just haven't quite figured out. So I don't think I would have caught him, honestly.
Yeah, well, you come up short, but next week, obviously, I don't know how points are looking, but next week we go to the Red Bull Ring out in Austria. How are you feeling about that final race of the season?
Well, I probably should buy the track.
That would help.
That's gonna help me learn it. I'll probably take a little time at some point this weekend to do that and learn the track, and then we'll send it and see what happens.
For sure, man. For sure. Well, before we let you go and celebrate your P3 finish, anybody want to give a shout out to?
Sure, yeah, I'll give a shout out to Treacle Insurance Agency, Haggerty Insurance, Sten over there at Beltway Brewery, SEO Mike. You guys for doing a great job on the broadcast, and of course Scott for taking the time to set all this up. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, congrats on your third place finish, man. Have
Thank
a good
you.
one.
Thanks, you too. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That is third place finisher Darren Treacle. As we go now to second place finisher, that is going to be Kachi, one of our contenders championship leader.
I like to feel
Steve-
my.
Steve
Yeah,
Ficacci.
how are you?
Sorry to interrupt you, Adam and Alec in the booth here. Man, a valiant effort here tonight, second place, and wow, you shocked us getting into pit road there. You closed up the gap, and man, you were just full send mode there for the second half of this race. Just come
Yeah.
up a little bit short, but man, describe the race.
I felt like everything came up short. I mean, it wasn't for a lack of trying, but like in qualifying, I thought I was gonna be able to better my lap, but just couldn't get any clean traffic at the end when the car was light on fuel. So that was a little frustrating. And then, in the race, early on, Chris was a little faster than me. And I don't know if anybody else had a problem, but early on in the race, I had a lot of stuttering issues. So I don't know if it was just so many cars on the track or what, but that kind of threw me off. And then, Chris had probably a 3-second gap. And then I would say about 3/4 of the way through the race, I felt like I was catching him. And then some traffic went my way, and then it all went south. So, I mean, it's still a second place finish, and Chris Grove drove great. It wasn't like a guaranteed I was going to do anything, but I felt like we were fairly evenly matched, and would have liked to, been able to try anyway.
Yeah, it was going to be interesting there. You did catch the lap machine, ran up on him in a bad spot, and that ultimately kind of put an end to the challenge there. But the championship battle, it's coming down to the wire here between you and Hill. Both 4 wins apiece this season. I think it's going to be 4 points or less even going into the finale. It was 6 points coming in tonight. So it's going to be tight. How do you feel? Do you feel confident headed into the Red Bull Ring that you can take the championship?
So, no, I don't own it, but I'm hoping, typically when we go to new tracks, I seem to do well. I think maybe I just pick them up a little bit faster than most guys, so I'm hoping for that. But no, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the track. I mean, I watch Formula One. That's about all I can say about it. So, yeah, I think it'll be okay. It's if it's anything like we see on TV, the long straightaways, a lot of drafting. Maybe the race will feel a little bit like Spa. I don't know. Where cars can kind of hang on to the other car, but yeah, I really don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very exciting, and it's almost like a super speedway compared to a lot of the F1 tracks. So in these cars, I think it's going to feel a lot like you described there at Spa. So going to be an exciting one, and going to be an exciting season finale between you and Christopher Hill, the only 2 eligible really at this point to win the championship. So second place does it for you here after starting in second. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just my thoughts are with my friends at Rick Flicks. They're going through some family health issues right now, so we hope everything turns out good for those guys. And yeah, we just, like I said, we're just thinking about those guys today.
Awesome, Steve. Well, we'll keep them in our thoughts as well. And congrats on the second place finish here. Very exciting driving from you here, and way to keep it interesting for us up there for the lead. But go celebrate, and we'll catch you next week in the championship finale.
Great.
Right, Christopher Hill is going to be the race winner here tonight, and Alec, I believe, we're with him.
That.
Yes, I am. Christopher Hill. Alec Martinez, Adam Bicker in the VSP booth. Good copy.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going pretty good, man. I'm sure it's going pretty good for you right now. Bringing her home a win. You said you were confident coming into this race, and seemed like you had nothing to worry about. Bring her home win, close the gap going into next week on Steve Ficacci for the championship. Take us through the race.
Yeah, I mean, it all went pretty much pretty well there for the most part. The only thing that was a little struggle was qualifying, and man, oh man, that was tight. I was I was sweating bullets coming to the line there and hoping it was enough. I felt like it was pretty close, and then I think the three of us were like less than half a tenth apart at the for qualifying. So that was my big worry. I knew once I got in the lead, I would have a pretty good chance at it because it's not an easy place to pass, even if you have more pace. So there's only like 2 or 3 good passing zones there, and I felt I was good enough in those sections. So yeah, it all kind of worked out. I had a couple moments or two catching up to some lap traffic that had a spin or two or whatever, and kind of gave me a start for a moment there. But and all in all, it ended up working out just fine. So kind of need that result, and I don't know if I still have a chance at it if we pull off the next one, but gonna keep fighting and see if we can't. So.
For sure, man. For sure. I think you're within striking distance. If you manage to bring home a winner and I think he gets third, I think you'd be the tiebreaker. Depending, I'm not sure how it's gonna work with points, but
yeah, it's a little confusing because of the drop, how the thing's calculating the drop. So I'm gonna have to actually sit down and calculate where it's at and on that side and see the actual non-drop standings, and then what's going to drop for both of us and all that kind of stuff once it's all done. But either way, it's been a heck of a fun season so far, and I think Red Bull Ring is another one that I'm usually pretty strong at. So hopefully just slightly stronger than Steve one more time. That's all I need, and we can, and a little good luck too, because I've had some rough luck a couple times this season that have kind of taken me out of the running where I would have probably otherwise been in a podium position or something like that. So to see how it goes,
For sure, man. Well, like we said, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys duel it out for the championship next week. And before we let you go here and celebrate your win, anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Well, I always gotta thank the wife for supporting me on my sim racing. She's very understanding. If I tell her, hey, I got to jump on the sim and go, she's very understanding and supportive, and I appreciate that all the time, of course. Always gotta mention Precision Racing Instruction. That's my company here. We've working with people both on the sim and in real life, and can make you faster. Really happy to see we've got in the top 10. We got at least three of the people I've been working with, students I've been working with this last week, doing well, and a couple in the top 5. So that's pretty awesome, and yeah, nice to see the results starting to come through and all of that for them. So anyways, if anybody is interested, you can always hit me up either on Facebook, Instagram, Discord if you got the link, and yeah. Good deal. So
For sure.
yeah, I felt like I was going to say one other thing, but I can't remember what it was. Anyways.
All good, man. Well, again, congratulations on your win. Looking forward to seeing you next week out in Austria. So, again, congratulations, man, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Sounds great. You have a good one.
Have a good one, man.
Tonight. Thank you.
Thanks.
Christopher Hill, race winner here tonight at Sonoma. His 4th win of the season, and he ties Steve Ficacci 4 wins apiece. It's going to be a battle in the last race of the season at the Red Bull Ring. Let's take a look at the rest of the results here tonight before we head on out for the thing. Pulling up our results. It is going to be Christopher Hill taking the win. Only 2 lead changes tonight, so he did not lead every single lap. Somebody else led a couple in there. But either way, dominating performance from Christopher Hill, who started on the pole and takes home the victory tonight. Steve Ficacci comes home in the 2nd position. Going to try and keep that championship battle as tight as possible between those two. Darren Treacle, for the 2nd week in a row, going to be on the podium here, 3rd position. Brian Kennedy, strong run, comes home in 4th, right where he started. Peter Lanik rounding out the top 5 right where he started as well. Clint Fletcher moved up a few spots, comes home 6th. Colin Kortnick finishes in 7th. Dean Tulien, driver of the day, finishes 8th. 9th was Stefan Vapa, great recovery, and then Jesse Brannon rounding out the top 10.
Then Colin Cracker finishing in 11th. Adam Pohl is going to finish 12th. Scott Kim 13th. Sten Selye 14th. Peter Yerksa in 15th. Aaron Dietrich 16th. Matthew Stover 17th. David Curtis 18th. Nicholas Matthews is going to run in 19th. And running out the top 21 lap down, Justin Craig.
21st, Rafael Torres, who was part of that big battle early on, not the finish he was looking for. Carlos Bonds, 22nd. Stephen Tenney, 23rd. 24th, Robert Benson. 25th, Perry Duncan. Rounding out the field tonight, Barry Bocaner took it behind the wall on lap number 1. Again, thank you so much for tuning in here tonight on V-Speed for the BMW Car Club of America National Capital Chapter Sim Racing League, sponsored by SEO Mike and Beltway Brewing Company. Looking forward to the championship battle coming up next week. We will be live on Tuesday with the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series. Looking forward to that race as well, Tuesday night. The next time we're live here on YouTube. You can catch us later tonight over at twitch.tv/vsim for V After Dark. That'll be going up here very shortly. And once again, thank you so much for tuning into tonight's race. We hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe and like if you did. Catch you all